Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Eric.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
I have something to get off my chest, though.
Well, here's the platform.
Here's the platform. A few months ago, we're in a group chat. There's a whole bunch of us in this group chat.
Yeah.
It's currently called Flavortown, I think.
Yep.
For Guy Fieri.
Yeah.
So we're in this group chat, and listen, dabbing is not cool right now. I think we can all understand dabbing as a dance move, dabbing as a movement, not the coolest moment for dabbing.
Right.
But a few months ago, I FaceTimed our friend Alex.
The bald god.
The bald god. Friend of the room.
Yeah.
Friend of the pod.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I called him. He picked up. I dabbed on him, and I hung up.
Right. Let's just hold on.
Yeah.
Let's slow that down real quick. You called him
I called him
on FaceTime.
on FaceTime.
He picked up.
He picked up.
You
and
dabbed
I
on
dabbed
him.
on him. I hung up on him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeff, he's a family man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a married father of 2.
I know.
And you
I wonder if he has a will.
shamed him
I shamed him in front of his family.
in front of his family.
Yeah, embarrassing.
Okay. So a few months later.
No. I mean, like, there were some skirmishes back and forth, right?
Right.
Because, like, first of all, that happened, and then, like, a week later, he was like, what was that?
A few months later.
Yeah.
Here we are in quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
People got the time.
Well, okay, so people have tried to come back at me, and I have always seen it coming.
Jeff, are you not?
And you cannot dab on the dab master.
You're the dab king.
I'm the dab king.
Okay?
Can't just come at me and start dabbing on me. No, I'm going to dab on you.
There's levels to
Yeah.
this. There's this level and
Yep.
this level and
Sick dab.
that level.
Look at that.
So today, this morning.
Well, it all happened because I this has gone away for like a few months now.
Yeah.
Last week, APOB,
Aaron.
our good friend,
Yeah?
I rang him up, dabbed on him, hung up, took a picture of it while it was happening,
Were you just getting
and
back
I sent
to
it to
this thing?
I sent it to everybody for evidence, and then APOB hit me today trying to FaceTime me, and I was like, nope, saw it coming.
Yeah.
Still dabbed on him.
Okay. So this becomes fodder for the group chat.
Yep.
Alex mentions that not only is he wearing sunglasses indoors right now.
Yep.
Because that's the mind frame that he's in.
Yeah.
He's
dark days.
He's in that killer state where he says, I will not be dabbed on, and I'm working on ways to dab.
Mm-hmm.
So my little pea brain gets the idea that I'm going to do a little sneak attack. Because how do you dab on the dabbed?
Well, when someone sees it coming.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, it's not going to be FaceTiming him. It's been done. So what can I do? Well, can't really text him. I feel like that's like just obvious, right? I'm trying to get creative. So I was like, oh, Jeff, take a picture of me dabbing right now, and then I'm going to email it to him. But I'm just going to, like, you know, put it under a different subject line, sort of sneak attack that in there.
Make it seem like work.
Asked him for the best email address. He gave it to me. I felt so confident. I BCC'd you and Matt Fastow and Justin Fleischer.
Everybody in Flavortown.
I was excited about this.
Everybody.
Alex texted right away and said, I see there's an attachment there. I'm not even going to open it.
He's like, I know what this is.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Fail. How do I even respond? He wins. Yeah,
but now you guys are talking about strategy about to.
I had big dreams.
Yeah,
Jeff.
but now you guys have like teamed up.
I basically
You said you were gonna order food to his door, and then
Yeah.
you would get the delivery man to dab on him.
give him an extra tip, you know?
So like it's sort of turning into Tag, the movie,
The movie, right.
where people play tag.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, listen, if this is like, you know, you at the top of the hill, can you be
Can I be dabbed on?
can
Sure.
you be knocked off?
I live every day like I could be dabbed on.
Really?
Every single day. I walk out this door. I put my mask on one strap at a time.
Just like anybody else?
It's just like anybody else.
Jeff, does it ever strike you that maybe the dab would come from within the house?
I swear to God, if you dab on me, I will end this podcast and I will burn this apartment down. I don't care. I don't care who goes out with me.
Jeff.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's just you talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't happen.
Okay, thank God.
There's a truce. I'm not going to do it. Not going to break up the momentum we have right now. The peace that's in this place, the tranquility.
Yeah.
Not going to. No, I'm not going to do it. Jeff, today on the podcast, who do we have?
We have Questlove, who is the hardest person to book.
Well, he's working a lot of jobs.
I know, but this has been like we've been trying. We've annoyed his assistant so much,
so much. So shout out to Questlove, who is again, he's on the Tonight Show. He's a founding
people
member
know
of
who
the
he
Roots.
People know who he is. We do not have to
a
explain
notable author and
who Questlove is.
documentarian. He has a lot going on.
He's very recognizable.
We got him on for an hour and change, and it is a truly fantastic conversation. Shout out to our guy Amir.
Kimberly Drew is also on the podcast.
Yes,
and she is somebody whose voice is just so good and so strong and so pointed. She is somebody who can write about art, about race, about music, about everything.
By the way, and she does.
And she
is a noted author. She has a book coming out with
Jenna Wortham
in November. She has a podcast right now, which is called Your Attention Please.
Yep.
She was just interviewing Miss Tina Knowles on Instagram Live.
Yes, which was
like today.
So good.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it, neither one of them knew how to save it.
Listen, man, it's a complex.
It was so good.
It's a complex time. It's a complex world.
Yeah.
It's a complex app. Have you watched Versus? Shout out to Kimberly Drew. And then, Jeff,
we have Chris Black on the podcast.
Chris Black is on the podcast.
The culture critic.
Yes.
Who has an opinion on everything.
And by the way, I'm so glad that now, during these times, he's not,
No, he's not toning it down. No.
We ask him about so much, and he is just very, very honest and
I like
awesome.
talking to Chris
He's just awesome.
Because every time I email him, I'm like, hey, do you have any idea about like where I could buy good glasses? Like, where good glasses can be found.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that today.
And also,
yes,
he has a podcast with our good friend Them Jeans, Jason Stewart.
Shout out to Jason.
Which is called How Long Gone?
How Long Gone. We talk about that with Chris Black. Jeff, before we get into these phone calls, I do want to say we have a Patreon, patreon.com/itsthereal. It's a chance for all of you out there to come along on this journey with us, invest in us if you see the potential like we do. This is something we never thought we would be doing. We never thought we would be doing a podcast, period.
Yeah.
Then 5 years later, we're still doing it, but
now it's every single day.
Every single day. And 30-something days in, 100 and something guests in. We still have both of our wits about us. Somewhat.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue that with your help. Thank you to everybody who has signed up, whether it's $2, $3, $7, whatever it is, anything that you can give to make sure that this ship stays afloat and keeps creating great content. We appreciate you. So thank you very much. Patreon.com/itsthereal. And now, Jeff, let's get on the phone with our friend, Questlove. Beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, boop, boop. Questlove!
What up?
Yo, what's up?
How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm up here on, I guess I'm at a ranch. I don't know what to make of it. It's like day 30. It's a ranch.
Yeah, you sound like you've been like kidnapped, and you're like trying to give us directions to where to find you.
I've been kidnapped. No, I am. I'm technically. I'm at a place they call the kibbutz.
Oh.
And yeah, literally, it's called the kibbutz.
Are they making you like farm shit?
I know.
Yeah, no, I'm on a ranch. I'm in a ranch and a farm. Listen, at the end of the day, Chris Rock taught me a lot of valuable lessons. And one of the main lessons he taught me in life, he said, man, if shit ever hits the fan of the world, you better know 5 survivors. Like, he told me, like, a group of like people that you need to know to help you out in situations. You know, like Mr. Wolf.
Yeah. Yes.
Solves problems.
Yep.
No, that's true life lessons.
Are any of those people Frank William Miller Jr.?
FWMJ. No, that's my guy, man. No, it's just at the end of the day, I got a problem solver, I got a survivor, I got, in case shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Like you gotta know certain people. So I instantly knew that, New York was going to be a toxic atmosphere. So luckily, I have a friend upstate that has, a really, really, a chill spot with space. So, I don't feel like I'm closed in and all those things going stir crazy.
That's a beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
well, I mean, like, you are somebody
And
who
it's
hits
also,
like...
there's chickens up here and ducks. So they're my friends too.
Are they going to get eaten?
No, Jeff. One of them is this.
Eggs every day.
Yeah.
They have eggs. No, you know what? It's so dope. I'm actually it's weird. Like Will Smith also told me like a big mistake that people make when they like first make it. Like they get eager to buy like their first crib like instantly the second they like start getting money and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And he says the wisest thing I can do is, he says, wait about 10 to 15 years before you decide the spot that you want to. Well, I mean, I think his term was like the place that you want to die in, like that sort of place.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For the longest, I've been holding on in my mind, like, where do I see myself when I'm like 70 or 80? Like at one point, when we first started touring, went to North Carolina, and like Special Ed was living nice, man. He really sold his part of North Carolina. Said, yeah, man, Kane's down here, up here. Like Ed has like small businesses and all. Like Ed's been really, really like smart with his money that he made and investments, and parlay that into that sort of thing. So I thought like, okay, well, am I like going to migrate down south, or am I going to, go to the West Coast? I thought like maybe I should go to Hawaii for a while, like after chilling with Chef Gordon.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like I used to make fun. All my industry friends, all my like writers and director friends, all my actor, they all like, when I first came to New York, they would all do this thing like, "Yeah, we're going upstate for the weekend." Da, da, da. And I used to joke that I don't want to be nowhere where there wasn't a 24-hour Dwayne Reed and walking distance. Like I just thought that was the silliest thing. And then when Hurricane Sandy happened, I was like, "See, I knew it." Like they all stuck upstate. Meanwhile, like I have all the Chef Boyardee ravioli I can have, but. I don't know. Like now I've been searching a few spots, considering some spots up in Westchester. It's really nice up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we grew up there. So if you need to know like where we went to elementary school, if that helps.
Wait, what part of Westchester though?
We're from Harrison. So Rye Playland? Where Mariah had her video and they did Big.
For Fantasy.
Yeah. And they shot the movie Big there.
Oh, okay.
We're from 5 minutes away.
Oh, so that genie is still up there?
Yeah, exactly. The boardwalk.
Really? I thought that was like, I swore that was like Long Island or Coney Island.
No,
we are not Long Island.
I learned the big difference between Westchester people and Long Island people. I learned.
Wait, what do you think the big difference is?
I'm gonna need a lawyer to say this.
Amir, if the Roots today were living in one place like you did in London way back when, who would be the best quarantine roommate and who would be the worst?
I'm certain that Tariq would be the alpha quarantine roommate. Wait, whoa, time out.
Yeah.
Is it See, the thing is, staying in North London, we were a 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, Malik was occasionally there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We were a group of 7 staying in a 3-bedroom flat.
Oh my God.
And now we're a group of 11.
Would you still stay in the 3-bedroom?
No, I would say that Tariq would be Tariq's instantly the alpha roommate, and not just like on some Lord of the Flies like leadership, but just Tariq's probably the most accomplished chef. He's meticulous. He's meticulous like to a fault. we're complete opposites. Like, we're really the odd couple.
Yeah.
I'll say maybe in the last year and a half or so, I'm not as slobby and messy as I used to be. But Tariq was one of them cats that like would get up at like 7 a.m. and clean the tour bus bathroom with like a toothbrush and like wants it pristine.
Yeah.
And that was like practically the reason why we had 2 tour buses. Like Tariq was Slytherin, so his bus was like pristine and shiny. And Gryffindor, there was like joysticks on the floor and like DVDs out their cases and all that stuff. So
might you be the worst roommate then?
I would probably be my job would probably be the provider. I'm the route that would, even on the tour bus, like when we did those rest stops, like you can't, just to avoid fights, because the thing is, like back in the day, you wake up on the tour bus and the next thing you know, like all the almond milk is gone. And then motherfuckers ready to fight. Like, you drank all the rice milk, you drink all the almond milk. Those were my golden grams. I had, back when I was working on the Chappelle show, I had a sneak preview of season 2 before the world got it. And so I believe like one of them borrowed and lost like 4 episodes.
Oh.
And that shit almost came, that shit was like almost about to come to blows.
I'm sure of that.
So it's like I learned early, like when you buy stuff, like if you're at a rest stop and you get Cool Ranch Doritos, you might want to buy 5 bags of those just so that you can have one to yourself, and then the rest rummage over.
Working with Chappelle during those years of the Chappelle show is one thing in terms of like being at the center of pop culture, but having been on first Late Night with Jimmy Fallon and then the Tonight Show, what was the moment when you really figured out that network television is like a whole different type of beast in terms of like power and like reach?
You mean that this was not my what I've been doing for the last 16 years when I realized?
Yeah, when did you realize that like our mom is your biggest fan? And by the way, that is 100% true. Shout out to our mom. So yeah.
Yo, it's so weird, man. Like we never ever got it right, because it would be like, it's so weird. Like for us to be so ubiquitous and invisible at the same time, it's like it's kind of a crazy mind fuck, because like in the beginning it would be like a certain demographic of ours was, our Sure Shot demographic, at least between like 93 and about 2002, was always like the college student. It's a very specific one, like,
a white college student.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, just not even. We hit all types of psychographs, but like, it was a certain type of college student, and like a college student that was in on the know, but then like the mainstream ones that were, like, y'all ain't Mobb Deep. Like, there's a funny story. There's a funny story about when I was in New Orleans, and I was at the airport, and the woman behind the counter was like over the top, like excited that I was there, and she bumped me up to first class.
Wow.
And I was like, oh man, thank you so much. And so then I went through security, and I'm sitting at the gate in New Orleans, and then about 25 minutes later, she came stomping at the gate and tried to embarrass me, like, you lied to me. And I was like, huh? She's like, you lied to me. And then tried to, like, renege on the first class ticket, like, put me in a middle back seat or something. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And she was like, I said that Nappy Roots was my favorite group. And I was like, oh, well, she said, no. She said, I told y'all that I love that song by y'all, Nappy Roots. And I said, well, no. And so, around that time was like, You Got Me time.
Yeah.
So normally, like, no one's ever called the song You Got Me. They just always say, oh, I love that Erykah Badu song.
Yeah, sure.
Right. And so, just naturally, I'm just, cutting to the chase. Like, okay, well, she loves You Got Me. Thank you. I appreciate it. And so I'm trying to say that, no. Okay, I get it. You think that we sing Sick and Tired, but what you don't know is that we actually have notoriety as well. And we're, I have a Grammy and all this stuff. And it was weird. It was like this one Asian dude, it was something out of a sitcom. Like the extras that you would see on the sitcom Community. Like it was an Indian guy, an Asian guy, and like two white guys, like ran to my rescue. Like, no, this guy's legendary. We went to see them last night at the House of Blues. Which really wasn't helping my case because of the dweebiness of the situation.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I never heard of y'all.
Yeah.
You lucky I can't, like, basically she was trying to punish me for accepting a gift, thinking that I thought that, she thought that I was somebody. So
you should have just said, "Oh, nah."
No, man, it's always been like that. So, from that in the beginning, and then like something really strange happened around like 2007 when we started doing Yo Gabba Gabba.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
And then suddenly, like, anyone under the age of 6 knew who we were. Like, you sing's your favorite song, Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yeah, man.
And so then, like, I was elated because by that point, like, little 2-year-olds weren't crying at the sight of me like before, but now they were, like, happy to see me. But then suddenly, like, once Fallon started, then it's, like, a way older demographic. Like, it's bad when, like, the local police officer's like, hey, Questlove, how you doing? Like, I was like, oh, wow. Like, one of the rare times I caught a train to the job, like I had overslept, and I think
the fastest way to commute is underground.
I'm not a subway guy. Like I always take my car to work.
Yeah.
And but this is one of them things where I think like we were backing up like Christopher Cross or something like, or Michael McDonald's, like someone like of that level of importance.
Yep.
And I had 20 minutes to get to 30 Rock. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna run and get the train. And okay, so whenever I either walk to work or like speed walk or whatever, one of the things I always do is I race the first 4 songs on America's Most Wanted by Ice Cube. So by the time I get to What They Hitting For, I should reach my destination. Like that's my 20 minutes thing. So I start at the beginning and then I race. So, Ice Cube was like loud in my headphones. I'm at the train platform and like 4 officers approached me. Instantly I started getting like PTSD. Like, like it was traumatizing.
Yeah.
And the guy walked up, hey, officer. And he was like, yo, man, we just want to say we're really big fans. And I was like, oh, God. Like, I didn't know how to. I was like, I'm at this place in my life now where, like, I'm no longer a threat to the establishment. Like, I became the establishment. But now it's like, when parents meet us, they're excited. And the kids are like, who are these guys? So,
Amir, for the last about a year, Jeff and I have been working on this this travel podcast, and you are definitely when we get to recording this going to be our first guest because you have the most miles out of anybody we can even think of, right? And so and one of our favorite memories being around you happened at an airport. We were coming back from South by Southwest. You were on our flight back, and I happened to be sitting like 2 rows behind you.
Yeah, it was like catty corner.
Yeah, and so I could see across the aisle that you had pulled up your Serato. You put on like Wall Street and the
movie.
Yeah, the movie, and you weren't even watching it. You were just writing your Serato. And if people out there don't know, there's 2 different decks, and you can like line up all your playlists on either side or whatever. But you had one song on the right hand side that was just sticking there, and on the other side it was like 3 million songs, and you're just going through, and I was like, I wonder
I'm lefty.
Well, I was curious as to what was going on, and then I was like, why is that one song on the right, and what is that one song? And I swear to God, it was Weird Al Yankovic, Eat It. And I was just like, that is the strangest thing. And by the way, but we always thought it was like the greatest thing that Eat It was just on the right hand side, not going anywhere.
You want to know something funny?
Yeah.
All right. Do you know what I was doing?
No idea.
I have no idea.
So even though I don't specifically remember that, if I was watching Wall Street, we were either on Delta or...
Yeah, it was Delta. It was Delta.
Okay, yeah. That's funny that I know which airlines show which movies. No, it's funny. Wall Street and Moonstruck are one of those 2 films that I might have committed to see, but I don't pay attention, and either I fall asleep. So I always keep Wall Street on. I instantly knew it was a Delta flight when you said Wall Street. I always keep it on, hoping that, in the 5-minute increments that I pay attention, that'll count as one full time that I've seen it. What you saw me doing was like some CSI level preparation. Okay, so Jay-Z hired me to DJ his Oscar, the Gold Party, one day after, like literally 364 days before the party.
Wow.
So I had went to, they've thrown 3 of these parties, and I went to the second one after the Oscars, right?
Yep.
And so I hit him up like, come on, dog. Like, East Coast ain't got no love for Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. Like, when's my turn? He's like, oh, you want to do it? I said, yeah, dog. He's like, all right. And then I thought, like, yeah, he's just bullshitting me, like, whatever. And so, sure enough, the next day, they booked me for next year. Like, this was 2019.
Yeah.
And they booked me for next year, and now the pressure is on. So my previous situations, now the reason why I really wanted to do this party was because I wanted to redeem myself. But it was almost like I was in my own head. There was no redemption needed. But the first time that I DJ'd in front of Jay was like I think it was the eve of like our Game Theory record release party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think if you Google like if you Google like Questlove Jay-Z photo, chances are that photo will come up where he's like in the DJ booth watching me. But it's a disaster. Like it was like one of the needles was messed up and wasn't reading Serato right. So like that,
by the way, you're exactly right. That's the first thing that shows up when you Google you guys.
Right. I was about to say, like, there's probably like only like 4 photos of us on the internet. And that's one of them. So that was a mess. So then the second time I DJ'd and they were in proximity, Solange was having kind of a Bon Voyage Brooklyn party, and she was about to move to New Orleans.
Yes.
So she hired me to DJ, And I think her mom, Miss Tina, had made a joke about like, well, if I know all these songs, then he can't be that good because those are old songs. And will someone tell him who my son-in-law is and tell him to play something from this century at least?
Wow.
Like that sort of thing. So I was like, oh man.
I mean, she does love a good joke.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
No. But it was like, in my mind, I was like, damn, I failed again. So then the third time was Solange's wedding. And that was a bust because I think Solange had broke out in hives and had to be rushed to the emergency room right after they left
Damn.
the chapel. Like, so right after I do, and they took that little like bike ride, took all the photos.
Yeah.
Then she broke out in hives and had to, run to the hospital. And so I was basically DJing for like a captive audience of like, and mind you, like I was like, all right, I'm gonna kill this one. There ain't no way she gonna complain now. And the thing is that Tina Knowles and her husband, he's a famous person.
Yeah, Lawson.
Richard?
I was about to say,
Yeah, Richard
Bianca
Lawson.
Lawson's dad.
Yeah.
Bianca Lawson's dad.
Yeah.
Like those two came in while like I was playing to like 23 people, but the place should have been like 300 people. So,
and they're like, oh, the guy from Nappy Roots, come on, like.
Yeah, but it was like a low energy, and then nobody was there like for all my good tricks, like all my look mono hands. Like I was doing all these dope mixes that I've been planning. And to nobody, like it was the DJ gig that fell in the forest and nobody heard it.
You were doing like crab scratches and like
Yeah, I was killing it just for like the wait staff. And then Jay came in like, come on man, let's turn it up. Like, what you doing? I'm like, well, I played all the good songs. Like you guys are late. And, come on man, you got some Ray Swimmer. Like this is like when Ray No Flex Zone first came out and all that stuff. And so, oh man, it was so I was like depressed. I was just like, yo, man, it's a jinx. Anytime that anyone named Carter or Knowles hires you for a DJ gig, disaster happens. Yeah. So don't do it no more. So this time around, I was like, I gotta redeem myself because I don't want them thinking that I'm a whack DJ.
Right.
So literally CSI levels of like, I mean, it starts with one record. And for me, it's like, what 5 records can blend with this one record perfectly? And so you ever see those like think of like Sounds of the Lambs where like the investigator has like all the photos on the wall.
Yeah, with the string. Yeah.
The yarn leading to this, like trying to solve the mystery, like that was it was like a beautiful mind.
Yeah.
Like, I spent a year trying to craft like my version of the Joker's like wait till they get a load of me type of DJ gig. So what you probably saw me doing was maybe at the end of the day I only sourced, I don't know, maybe like 6 songs that whole trip. Like it would be, my thing was like, at the end of the week, I need another 10 songs of perfection. And that means, like I had to comb through about 80,000 songs before I decided what the final combination was. And when I did it.
Did you just play all Ray Shremmerd songs?
No, he played Weird Al, Eat It.
Just on repeat.
No, you gotta go through that stuff. Like you gotta tag your songs. You gotta make sure they're the right BPMs. You gotta know what keys they're in. You gotta know if there's a bridge in the middle so that maybe that bridge can lead you to another song in that key. Like it was me trying to solve a 100,000 piece puzzle in a year.
Oh my God.
And when I did the gig, I don't know if I call it a tantric DJ gig or whatever.
You just played the Police?
No, I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that it was like at first it was like, oh man, that's my song. Oh, that's my song. And then it went to, woo, he killing it. Then it went to, oh wait, he's trying to kill us. And then it went to, then it wasn't funny anymore. Then it was like, wait, this is art. Like he's telling a story here with music and the history of music and 100 years of music. Like it was literally like from Benny Goodman all the way to like whatever, like Party Next Door's joint was like. Yeah. Literally trying to connect the dots to that. So that's probably what you saw me doing.
Did Jay have anything to say after it or no?
I mean, he was shocked. I mean, I was shocked. That's how it was so good. I was shocked. I was like, but I don't know how to describe it. Like it was probably, if there was ever like when history is shown like, oh, Amir's best performances. if there's ever Amir's best performances ever, like, I assure you, that night will be talked about.
Well, Amir, let me ask you this. I'm sure that you've like we have. I mean, we've seen you in the comments, so I know you've been there. You've been watching these versus Instagram battles. How would you rank your top 3 battles from that collection, and why?
You mean in seeing the battles on Versus?
Yes. Yeah. What, like, in terms of your experience, what were your top 3 so far?
Okay, so I came aboard quasi late. Okay, I was there in the very beginning. If you remember the very first one with
Tim and Swiss. Blaze. That one. Okay, yeah.
Oh, my fault. Well, I saw one with Just Blaze versus. Wait, didn't Just Blaze go?
He went against Swizz.
Yeah,
and then he also went on tour with Alchemist.
Yeah.
Okay, so I saw that one, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is dope. It's not bad. It's cool. It's cool." And then I wasn't aware that this was happening until the songwriters one.
With Jonte Austin,
and Neo,
right? And then like all the memes and the comedy that ensued.
You're talking about Sean Garrett.
Yeah, Sean Garrett.
Yes, okay, that one, Sean Garrett. And so I was there for the Primo
and
RZA one. And you know what's weird about the Primo RZA joint is, first of all, I mean, Primo is, a very cordial,
Yes.
Very, he's an upstanding fella.
Yes.
He's a great guy. But it's so weird because with RZA, I think RZA had the slight advantage only because RZA played joints that I just forgot about.
Mm.
Like, I forgot about Motherless Child.
Mm.
So when he played it, I was like, yeah!
Did you forget about Gravel Pit?
Yo, man. I was like, come on, dog. No Gravel Pit. At least don't act like you like Gravel Pit. No, but it's just that I forgot about, I totally forgot about like 3 or 4 of them joints that RZA played that I just forgot about them. And to hear them them later, I was like, yo, that's incredible. But by far, my favorite one, like, and I posted this, Teddy Riley and Babyface are my favorite sitcom ever.
Yo, did you know that either one of them was as petty as they could be?
No. It's, on the low, Face is a comedian, but kind of like, but he doesn't mean it, and that's what makes him a great comedian. He really wasn't trying to snark. like, oh, that's cute. Like, you remember the first time around when he was like, oh yeah, I like that little dance you did.
Yeah. To the show.
No, he was being sincere.
Yo.
But it's just, the one thing I'm mad that Face didn't do. Face is probably the world's greatest Michael Jackson imitator.
Oh my God, yeah.
And to hear him, and it's a very specific era of Michael Jackson.
Right.
Like Mike at 42, 43, 44, like that era of Michael Jackson. No, to me, the comedy that ensued, okay, were you guys able to watch on their feed, or did you have to watch another way?
We watched on their feed.
Yeah.
I know you were broadcasting it from yours, like
yeah, because half the world
on some like Inception shit. Yeah, because like it froze after like 500,000 people or something.
Yeah, we were in there.
Yeah, it froze people out.
Yeah.
So actually, like I felt like the bootleg T-shirt guy at a rap company.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, whenever you go to like Madison Square Garden, and you see like B2K bootleg T-shirts. That was me. That was my job. So, but no, I'm enjoying it. It's my dream. I think the thing that I want to see though is that I didn't realize that it's just a sound clash.
Right.
You play your record. Now Jimmy Jam has suggested something that he be with, and that is like, say if it were Ellie and Babyface versus Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis have to play all LA Babyface songs, and LA Babyface have to play all Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis songs.
That's pretty good.
See, but then do you like throw the match intentionally? You're like, oh, look at this garbage that they created.
No, but then that led me down a further rabbit hole. Like, I'm like Weebay GIF all over. Like, so then I thought, yo, why don't motherfuckers do like poker? So say if you get, okay, so say for the cats that don't have a catalog that deep. So say if you gathered a room of like, all right, let's put like Black Milk, Ninth Wonder. I mean, we can even put veterans like Eric Sermon, DJ Quick. So say if you had like five dudes, right? But their thing is that don't play your catalog. You got to play like your work. So I want to see a situation where like Black Milk has his 500 beats ready, and say like Tall Black Guy or Stro Elliott or Kareem Riggins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like beat makers just go and play poker that way. So like one guy plays his round, and then the other guy has to go in his arsenal to play his round, and then we decide as a jury like who won that round.
That'd be hard. I was watching Ninth was doing a live late one night. It was probably like 2:00 in the morning, and I saw like Swiss Beats is going live with Ninth Wonder, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And so Swiss jumped in there to be like, yo, we're gonna do one now where you cook up some samples on the spot, and Just Blaze cooks up some samples on the spot, and we go back and forth. And Ninth was just like, well, how are we going to do this? Is there a time limit? What's our like sample bank? Like, what are we using? And Swiss, like he does, sort of makes it seem like, well, you know, all the answers are there, and everything is already set, and it's going to be easy.
Just play it.
I know, yeah. Would you be there for that kind of competition as well?
That's what I initially thought the John was.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a thing of like, you know, you come to the table with at least 20 beats that you already cooked up, and then perhaps like someone pulls out a mystery sample. That's the shit. One of my favorite moments ever. And you probably heard this story before. Back when me, Dilla, and James Poyser were working on Common's Like Water for Chocolate album.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be times where we'd be frozen. We'd be like snowed out in Detroit, and sometimes would have to just, you know, stay at Mon Duke's crib, like Dilla's house in Detroit, and try to catch like an afternoon flight out or something like that. So one night while we were snowed in, it was me, Frank from Frank and Dank, Dilla, and I believe was Proof there. It was either Proof or Dank, but I believe it was Proof because no one could shit talk like Proof did. And at that time, I was just like, all right, you know this guy. Like, the one thing Dilla hated was like that sort of fan worship thing.
Yeah.
Like, I've always had that shit for him from the day I met him. Like, I always tagged in my iTunes, I tag it Dilla is God. You know what I mean? Like, there's no doubt about it as a beat maker. And so, but back then it was just like, just to gain his trust, like, you just have to be chill and just not bring that up, not make him uncomfortable.
Right.
So one time they talked about like, we could do the Olympic joint. And I was like, what's the Olympic joint? And there's this thing where like the two beat makers would have 5 minutes to make a beat using the records given to them by, the remaining people in the room. And so I was like, well, that's unfair because you know what records Dilla wants. Dilla's like, nah, you can choose whatever you want. And I was like, I could choose the records? He's like, yeah. So then I was like, all right. So I purposely chose, this is a lesson that I learned that I'll never forget. I was like, all right, I'm gonna choose Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers joint called Ashley's Roach Clip, because at that time that breakbeat was like, with the exception of Rakim rhyming over it for Paid in Full, it was basically like, man, that's the PM Dawn breakbeat,
right?
That's the Milli Vanilli breakbeat, you know that break. That's EMF Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I want you to take Ashley's Roach Clip and this Johnny Mathis record, and let me see what you can do. And they start the clock at 5 minutes. Motherfucker was done in like 2 minutes. And the shit was gangster as fuck. It sounded like it was hard as shit. I was like, yo. So then by round 4, and he's like the miles from me. Then I was like, all right, I got a record you can't flip. And I was just like, nah, you just choose one joint. And I went to go get Rick James's Street Songs album and told him, I said, flip. I said, at first I was like, nah, flip Super Freak. I said, no. I said, that's unfair because nobody can make no shit out of that. I was wrong.
Yeah, right, too. Right. Yep.
And I was like, yo, flip Rick James, give it to me, baby. Because in my mind, I'm thinking the last time I heard that shit used was Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, I'm All That. And I was like, all right, you ain't going to make this sound good, so this is going to be funny to watch. And he struggled past 5 minutes, but he was like, just give me like 2 more minutes. And I was like, wait, you have something of substance? He's like, yeah, I got a little something, but it'll do. And when he played that shit, I was like, yo, you really are the greatest beat maker of all. He wound up making Commons doing it,
man.
And that's when I learned, like, yo, like that level of sport is a gift. So that's what I initially thought that Versus was.
Yeah,
I thought it was that, but I mean, I would love to see that, man.
Yeah,
whatever keeps creativity up, I'm for that.
Amir, for our last sort of like question, I guess I wanted to.
I got one more. Yeah.
So then never mind. But
yeah, take it down. I ain't got nothing to do but quarantine. I'm in a Volkswagen right
now. So you invited us to your birthday this year, which was you took over a movie theater in Brooklyn, and for the entire day had screenings of different things, and there were food courses that like paired up with what we were watching. So for instance, there was cartoons and cereal in the morning. We watched Coming to America, and you had it catered by McDowell's.
I had to make a McDowell, the McDowell's menu. The first showing was we did cartoons and cereal, courtesy of the Spoons, Tunes, and Booze folks,
which is great.
Right. Yeah, and then we did Coming to America, which was catered like McDowell style.
Yep.
And then we showed The Harder They Come.
Yep.
The Jimmy Cliff outlaw reggae classic with
Miss Lily's.
Yeah, with like West Indian Jamaican food. And then we showed
Goodfellas.
After that, we Goodfellas. Goodfellas, we had a 7-course meal prepared based on the foods that they were eating in Goodfellas.
Right. So when they were eating, you were also eating what they were eating on screen. And then there was another thing with Deez and Marrow at night. But anyway, so all that to say, it was a super extravagant idea for a birthday. Not in like terms of like how much it cost, but I'm saying like just the experience. And so I was wondering, what is, if that's not like the most like you've done for your birthday, what is?
That is absolutely the most I've ever done. Well, last year was good too. I had a murder mystery at my house.
Whoa.
Yeah, I did not know that there were traveling. There's a troupe. Have you ever done? Well, you've heard of Sleep No More.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I was saying to a friend, like, "Wow, wish I could have this experience elsewhere." And they were like, "Well, the original cast, the original OG Sleep No More crew decided that they were going to parlay like at home Sleep No More, that sort of thing." So last year I had a murder mystery at my house where I invited about 30 or 40 people over, and 10 people that I didn't know, and then suddenly we had to all figure out like who murdered or killed who based on teams and whatnot, and it was like the best shit ever.
That is wild. That's awesome. You are the most prolific human being that we know. You have a million jobs. Tonight Show, The Roots, books, TV, film, all that. We know that you're working on a documentary with our friend Joseph Patel about the Harlem Cultural Festival. Is this time now where you are, just living within these four walls, a boon for you, or is it a complication, or how does it affect like that specific job?
Well, here's the thing. I thought my world was going to come to a screeching halt, and all I was going to do was sleep and do nothing, which the world's been begging to happen for me. But no, this has now opened way more doors than I ever knew could happen.
That's awesome.
As far as the movie's concerned, we're still able to work on it. Like my editor, I'll say that 75% of the movie is complete. There are 7 crucial interviews that I need that were about to happen the week that the quarantine went into effect. So, yeah, that happened. I mean, even as of now, the film is kind of releasable, but the cherry on top with the situation would be obviously conversation with Stevie Wonder, which we were planning on.
That was not the phone call to your live set like a couple weeks ago?
Jesus Christ, that could have happened at a better. And the funny thing was, you could see Joseph Patel in the comments saying, "Tell him about the movie. Tell him about the movie." But that was like one of the greatest moments of my life to have him just cold call me like that.
I think it's beautiful too that it was recorded and everyone can watch it and you can have it live forever.
Dog, that's one of the greatest moments of my life. Like I think I feel bad that I'm having so much fun because I love DJ.
Yeah.
Like I love talking about music and DJing and all that stuff. So for me, like this is like my dream right now. But no, I'm DJ now more than ever before. Like, as soon as I hang up with you guys, I think I'm doing a set tonight for the Earth Day people.
Very cool.
Earth Day people, isn't that like everybody?
Yeah, I'm just a certain sect of people that believe in science.
Yeah. There is definitely a divide in terms of people who do and do not. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work in Georgia, man.
Oh,
I
God.
got friends down there.
Same.
That's scaring me a little bit. Yeah, so I mean, between that, there's another film opportunity about to happen that I'm working on. I'm working on. Probably the best thing is I'm working on my 6th book right now.
Oh.
And I think. Okay, this is the most that I've ever said about what I'm writing on, so you guys kind of have an exclusive. OK Player always gets mad when I get to anybody but them.
Right.
I think this is the definitive music book that you guys wanted me to write all along.
Well, goddamn.
This isn't like my journey in music or how music correlates with food or how to be creative and make music. This is just like this is my Bible of music.
This is Benny Goodman.
That's right.
To
all the way to party.
Door.
Yeah.
This is Benny Goodman to Party Next Door. Right?
Amir, before we let you go,
yes.
We love SNL just like you love SNL. We love 30 Rock and all the history that's there just like you do. Can you talk about the life and the unfortunate passing of Hal Wilner?
Dog, man. Dude, man. This shit became super real to me when Hal passed by, man. Because it's like, where when people ask, like, even now they'll ask, like, okay, it's 10 years now. Like, do you like it? Do you not like it? Like, And I'm trying to tell y'all, man, like, this is 30, like, for every comedy nerd to be at 30 Rock, like, and I call it 30 Rock University. Like,
yeah.
That's what it is. Like, the one thing that I've not been able to do, that I've been begging Higgins to let me do, is to sit. Like, I asked him, like, yo, can I be an intern? I want to sit in on a pitch.
Oh, my God.
I mean, Higgins is with it, but, just like Lauren get a little freaked out.
Yeah, sure.
Whatnot. So Lauren just, I don't want to rock the boat there.
Right.
But with Hal, man, it's like that dude, it didn't hit me. It didn't hit me until his passing. I always had a question, and this is very weird enough that the 2 times that we were musical guests, we were like the backing band of someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time that we did it, we were on the show with Busta Rhymes, and he was promoting what's the album after? I think Anarchy.
Mm.
And the second time we were on that show, weird enough, our host was that guy on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Oh,
really?
My God.
He was the host.
Oh, my
yeah.
God.
And what's strange is that
that he's in the White House? Yeah.
Right. No, this was in I believe 2003, and Toots and the Maytals were the music guests, and Toots wanted the Roots and Bootsy Collins to be his band.
Wow.
And the whole time I was like, yo, this is such a random lineup. Like, who would organize like a song with Toots and the Maytals and Gwen Stefani, and also Bootsy Collins and the Roots? Who would do this? And I didn't realize until when I'm reading his final obituary that he was still producing and organizing records. Like, I knew about his history with all these compilations and all of these box sets.
Yeah. That
came out. But once I realized, like, oh, he's the one that like sort of put these ideas together, and I didn't realize that he brought me to, like, because being on SNL was like a dream for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, but every time I see him in the hallways, and you know, he was also a part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame committee. So, you know, we talk in the hallways beforehand, like, who do you got this year? You know, I'm gonna go for Saga again. What about you, man? He's like, man, you know, we got to get Jay Giles band in. Like, we would just always talk about music, and he would always have like some weird, like some weird obscure like African recording that I never knew about, or just, he was always up on his music knowledge, man, and I'm gonna miss that the most. Like, working with Higgins as a comedy historian and working with Hal just like as a music historian, man, that was like definitely a highlight of me working at 30 Rock University, man. So that guy's going to be missed.
Yeah, well, rest in peace to a real musical genius. And listen, Amir, thank you so much for this.
Thank
we
you for
love
having
you.
me. I'm sad it's under these circumstances. Like, on the...
Yeah, no, exactly. And we look forward to when we can all congregate once again and hopefully see you real soon. Amir, take care of yourself. We'll talk to you.
And play some Eat It tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to play Weird Al Yankovic just for you guys.
All right, take care.
All right, peace.
Jeff, let's get on the phone now with our friend, Kimberly Drew. Boop, beep, boop, 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 boom, boom.
Hello.
Kimberly! How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
We're doing all right.
Yeah.
It's funny. Someone just texted and said, like, hey, how are you guys doing? Are you sane? And I'm like, do I respond back, like, all capital letters, like,
We lost Jeff.
ah, it's all a panic.
Right? No, everyone's like, how are you doing? And I just keep responding, I am doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
That's it.
I don't know. Like, we're inside all day, you know? Every day's the same. Not sure, you know, how to
But it's
report
like,
on this.
it's crazy how it's like every day is the same, but every minute is different.
Yes.
Literally, I've never felt more susceptible to everything ever in my life.
Well, I think one of our favorite things of this quarantine has been the fact that you have lost things while in quarantine.
I honestly, like, shit that I don't even need. Like my hairbrush where I'm like, for what? For whom? Why am I grooming? But it's gone.
Kimberly,
like, I used it one day and it's gone.
Do you get dressed up for Zooms, or do you get, you know, like into costume or anything for if there's a birthday party? Because Jeff and I have definitely at the last second changed into suits for a friend's birthday party, you know?
You kind of have to. Like, I think that there's like two types of quarantiners who are like, I'm going to wear sweats all day and that makes me cool. And I'm like, for my mental health, I have to get dressed.
Right. Yeah, agreed. Or make your bed, or, you know, live a somewhat normal life.
You can do both. You don't have to do or.
Yeah, no, I'm saying and or.
Yeah.
Kimberly.
I mean, and just really overachieving. Just so we're clear. Like, it's either like I put on a ball gown in my kitchen or I'm making my bed.
Kimberly, first of all, we were introduced to you a few years ago, and like right off the bat, you were like, you know what? I am presently working at the Met, and should you ever want a personalized tour, you are more than welcome to take me up on that. And we were like, are you serious? And you're like, yes. And you were so kind in inviting myself, Jeff, our brother Dan, our Aunt Jane, and our mom to come through first thing in the morning at the Met while you were working there, and you took us around on a private tour, and it was so meaningful. So thank you for that.
Of course.
In these days now, you left the Met like a year ago, I think. You've been doing a lot of really cool stuff since then. But in these days now, where institutions are starting to crumble all around us, and that's the federal government, certainly, but also a lot of these big museums are letting people go. A lot of, the Metropolitan Opera is looking like it, I believe, let everyone go. It's things that you could count on in the arts are no longer standing, right? How do you feel about that, and how can we help the people who are behind the best parts of the institution?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and it's kind of twofold, right? So I think that there's one part where it's really, really, really super important for anyone who lives in any community, which is all of us, to think about supporting your local institutions. That museum that you love to go to, that botanical garden, make sure that you're giving, if you can, a donation of any size that you can to their general funds, because that money is really, really needed right now. And then in terms of helping each other, I think we're in an interesting crossroads. So like, I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, MoMA furloughed all of their museum educators. And so there's a lot of impacts and hits that are coming to the arts community at different levels. I just saw a petition today on change.org that was calling to institutions and specifically to director roles to consider doing a lot like what you see in like the tech world, where perhaps the director will take a pay cut or forgo payment for a year, because a lot of people who are on the lower end of the earning spectrum in institutions are being let go or furloughed in this moment. And it's really, really it's such a shame, because they are the backbone of these institutions.
For sure.
Isn't the crazy thing that it's just like all money is made up, and like the whole thing, like everything that like that America is, it's just like, oh, you can cut like $1 trillion check and just like keep us going for the next few months.
Right. Or they won't.
Yeah.
Right. Or when it comes down to it, it's I don't know, it's a weird thing. I mean, you even see with like I forget what the word is for it, but like this whole stimulus moment where it's like, they're cutting these huge cuts for like multi-million-dollar like monopoly money businesses, and then everyone else kind of gets pennies. And it's like, I don't know, it's a really confusing time. But one thing I will say, speaking of money, there's an incredible fund that was started by probably like 20 different arts funding organizations directly serving artists. So it's artistrelief.org. If artists are out listening and want to get in on that to get some support right now. I think they're giving out like $5,000 discretionary emergency funds to artists.
Wow.
So there's a lot of really good work that's being done, but the arts are really, like, I think of all the creative industries, it's so sad to see the industry that I most wholeheartedly belong to really, really taking a hit right now.
Yeah, I think a big thing on our minds have been community and culture lately, and how to keep those alive. And I think that goes, with obviously the big museums, but also down to like the clubs that you like to go to, like things that actually keep culture alive. And right now, it's hard to imagine culture. There is nothing but quarantine news. There's not like, an award show to sort of get your mind off of things. Like, we resort now to Instagram lives and battles, which are awesome and great. And you see how people are like taking culture and moving it into a new place. Where are you getting, your high from right now? Where do you like uplift yourself and feel good about something?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think all of us need to be asking that question, because it's not all news. Like, I go on full week binges, no news. I'm in a news week right now, but I've been really trying to keep a safe distance just for my brain. Yeah. But one of the things that I love a lot, I don't really love... Okay, so I want to also get y'all's take on the IG battles, but before we get into that, I'm not super into, like... Okay, this is a controversial opinion.
Yes.
I don't feel good watching like Questlove or D-Nice DJ as good as I feel as if I'm watching, like, if I'm in a Zoom rave and I'm watching DJs that I know and love personally, and then maybe there's like a party camera and I see other people who are moving around. Because the thing that I miss the most about music culture and club culture and all of that is the people who are there. Like, it's cool and amazing that like these DJs are like, especially with D-Nice, because he's just like a legend and like deserves this attention.
Sure.
And is doing it for a good cause. But at the same time, it's just kind of like impersonal almost. It's like, great, Michelle Obama's in the chat, like fucking dope. But like being able to see, the Poppy Juice DJs or Maya Monez or anyone from Discwoman, like seeing those DJs or Jubilee, like to tune in and be able to see them, I'm like, okay, this is how I'm going to survive, and these are the people that I want to see on the other side.
Yeah, I think in regards to the D-Nice one specifically, and not to be like those guys who were like, we were there when there were like a few people there, but we were but only because a friend of ours had said on Twitter, he was like, yo, everyone in D-Nice's live right now feels like the old Def Jam building at 825 Worldwide Plaza. And so we were like, oh, and we jumped in there and we saw, or whatever, like saw the comments from all of our friends who work behind the scenes of a certain era, right? And so for us to be in there and shout people out just by text and have them shout us out back, you know, and it's people that most, you know, of our listeners out there haven't heard of, right? And people who just do like the dirty work of marketing or A&R work or whatever, and they're all back there. But and this is a weekend or something like that to the quarantine, to be able to have that connection, that felt good. That felt like,
but that's what Kimberly's point is. That she has that same personal connection.
For sure.
Yeah. But that's the thing. That's what's so good about this moment is like, or not to cut you off, but like it's like there's something lost when it's so big.
Yeah. So it felt better in those first days with that connection than it did. And look, again, like all props to D-Nice and everything he's doing over there and all the people who get something out of that. For me,
absolutely incredible.
For me, it wasn't the same. And it was like, oh yeah, I mean, that's cool that like celebrities are here, but it wasn't the same.
When Joe Biden entered the room, that shit shut down. I was, but like, I'm curious how like Zoom raves feel, because I haven't been invited to any, first of all, so like I don't know what that's like, but I imagine that it's much more fun to see other people reacting to the music in a visual way, as opposed to this very static, I'm enjoying this music and let me type it. Right. You know, like this is a song I like. You know, like
that's my jam.
Yeah, like fire emoji. You know, like I think that it sort of takes out the physical from it.
Kimberly, we're the type of guys, you know us, you know, we'll go out to a lot of things, but we're indoor boys, you know, like we're sort of like, we'll lay back and we don't need to go to everything. But more and more, I do miss that aspect of things, you know, of going to a club, of being near people, of sweating, of like, even like taking the subway and being close to people. I very much miss that.
Right. Or even like, okay, so the IG live battles, right?
Yeah.
I probably watched 3 or 4 of them. But even thinking about like the way that I miss people, where I'm like, yo, you know, it'd be fucking dope to like see that. And then like, what is a subway ride home after that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like when you're like taking that trip back from like whatever concert you've gone to, and like you have bonded with every person who also saw their favorite music artist that night.
Yeah. Or even just standing outside with people after the concert, you know, that we've had a lot of great nights just like standing for hours talking with people after a show. That's what I miss.
This is like leaving this conversation. I want to be like, man, like being inside sucks.
Well, on the other hand, fuck all the people.
Isn't it trash?
Yeah, but on the other hand, fuck all the people who are like throwing that out and going to, you know, to a governor's mansion outside of you know, Lansing, Michigan or something like that, and fucking, you know, congregating against, you know, the whole,
shouting in the windows and saying, you know, let us work or whatever.
Fuck all of that.
Like bring back capitalism.
I would much rather be inside than do that. But anyway.
Yes, but I'm just saying that like I miss those very small things that I haven't thought about, the ones that you guys both just mentioned, where it's just like, you know, yes, I miss concerts, but I miss that feeling after the concert. You know, like it's so granular, like all these tiny things, and you're just like, fuck, like all I do is I come out to my living room and then just like have a phone call and like that's my high.
Well, Kimberly, how often?
But there is something that's really so special about this moment though too, because like a few weeks ago, I was in this 24-hour Zoom rave, first of all.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Wait, why are you getting invited? Why am I not getting invited to any of these places?
I was going to say, I was like, I can send you guys Zoom raves. Like, I love them. So there's one tonight that's run by this incredible collective down in Miami called Masisi. And like Tiger Paw's DJing, Maya's DJing. Like there's such good DJs on the lineup for it. But I will say, nothing beats going to the quote unquote club, but you're in bed.
Right.
Oh, you know, I fuck with that. Yeah. Like,
like as someone who also loves the cozy, like I don't have to go anywhere and I get all of the same things.
Are you still in a ballroom gown?
Yes. Like I'm trying to plan my look for tonight. Like I zoomed from the bathtub like a few weeks ago. Like
did you
it's
really?
There's levels.
Was that a business Zoom?
It was a party Zoom. But I was trying to like thirst trap for the masses.
And there you go.
That's the joy of it.
Kimberly, how often do you make it outside? Like a week? How often do you make it to a grocery store? What time do you go to the grocery store?
Where can we catch you?
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, are you trying to meet up? I leave the house approximately once every 8 days.
Yeah.
And those are grocery store runs. And I a few weeks ago, I did a really long walk, and it was not good. I was outside for 2.5 hours walking. Because I didn't realize that you shouldn't walk for that long because I live in Bushwick, first of all. First and foremost, I live in Bushwick where half of Bushwick doesn't think this is real. So people I passed a bodega and people were just dancing bachata in the street, and I was just this isn't even the optics of this doesn't feel good. I'm worried for everyone's health, but also
you can do that at home on Zoom.
Right.
If only
Zoom,
you had the link.
Right. I'm what's the room code? But yeah, so I've limited it, but I just got, I'm going to start biking again.
Nice.
Just,
because then you can get outside and you can also maintain distance. Yeah. Exactly.
But the distance part is the thing that's hard because, I don't know, our ice cream dude still comes, or ice cream person, and I like watching people queue up and not social distance in line to get some ice cream where you could also get at the store where you social distance. I don't know.
The guy in the truck?
Yes. And then you hear the noise. And it's like a siren calling you into the street.
That is madness.
Yeah. And I'm like, yo, support says, I see you hustling. I see you doing your thing.
Sure.
Also,
don't die.
read the room, my guy. Come on.
What have you found to be the most offensive, type of commercial or bigger company trying to get involved in what's quote unquote right now?
I think it's hands down probably Fashion Nova. Fashion Nova, that's hit us with that stimulus check. Yeah, I probably would say that because I heard about this is the most pretentious sentence ever, but I was listening to some podcast this morning and they mentioned Fashion Nova. But yeah, otherwise I don't know. I think it's been an interesting mix. We'll see. As Mother's Day rolls around, all those capitalist holidays are popping up, so people are going to start talking out of the side of their faces.
Yeah, I feel every time I see a Walmart commercial or an Amazon thing, and it's just hey, think of the real heroes, and it's then pay them.
Well, that for sure. But how about the ones that are hey, we're all inside right now, and that's the way that they start off every commercial. That sort of pisses me off. I'm how quickly do they turn this shit around?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Right. Right. No, it's real. I mean, that's the thing too about social distancing, and I think there's part of me that always is man, it's so weird to be inside for 8 days at a time. But my mom goes to work 3 days a week at a hospital.
Oh my God.
My dad is going into work once every 2 weeks. I have a cousin who's a nurse. I have a really good friend who's a doctor. There's so many people in my immediate network that just can't stay home.
Yeah.
And so it's I think it's so important also that being able to self-quarantine, shelter in place, distance in the ways that some of us can, is such an extreme privilege that I don't know. I just think it begs repeating over and over again because so many people, I'm just I do not want to have a chat with another person who's man, I had to stay inside. I'm just fucking you're not you're not making the decision of whether or not someone gets a respirator to live or die.
Right.
I think you can chill.
Yeah. And also, by the way, I think people who are hey, this is jail are out of their fucking minds.
Yo,
Ellen
DeGeneres.
not a good comparison.
I feel Ellen might be a little out of touch.
It's between her and Vanessa Hudgens. I'm I love celebrities right now. I'm yes, give me more.
Well, actually, what did you think when you saw the Gal Gadot thing?
Oh, the Imagine situation. Well, it falls into that delicate category of people who like John Lennon, where it's oh yeah, we're completely gonna forget that he's super abusive because it's convenient.
Well, Did you download the song immediately, or did you wait a couple days?
Yeah, I mean, did you pay for it on Apple Music?
Yeah.
I got a subscription to Apple Music and immediately downloaded it. Obviously, no, I didn't watch it, but I made a parody for one of my friends for a birthday. Shout out to all the Aries right now who are doing inside birthdays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, yeah. What's the most Leo thing I could do in quarantine?
This one. Our entire reading for this like astrological moment is to have fun.
Oh, there you go.
So
yeah, I'll take
dressing
that.
up for parties.
I thought you were saying like to make it all about me. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
No.
Kimberly, you have a podcast that you've been doing, and it just so happens it's during quarantine. Do you feel like it is a weird time to broadcast? Because sometimes we do.
I think that I do not envy people who are editing podcasts right now. That was like the thing I was thinking about so much this morning. Like being able to have the focus to do that back end editing is like, I can barely compose an email right now. I could not imagine stitching audio or video together in the way that attention like is necessary. But in terms of creating a pod, I think now it feels fine. So like the episode that I released on Friday, I was in conversation with the author Tomi Adeyemi, and Tomi and I had to, or not had to, quote unquote, but like I rushed home from LA because that was like the weekend when the rumor that New York was shutting down happened.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to I was supposed to take a train from LA to San Diego to interview her, and was like, I just have to go home. And so I went home and I called her from my house to do the chat. And in both of our voices, you can hear the panic coming, you know? And so I think that the beginning of the pandemic interviews and the beginning of the pandemic media making is very different than right now, because it does monopolize a lot. And like I even interviewed like one of my heroes in a public setting for this art fair. And she spent like 75% of the interview, like every question she reverted back to coronavirus. And I was like, okay, like I get that this is important, but like really? And I'm like, yo, she was right.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how it's been for you guys. Like I think it's one thing to do it topically. It's another thing when like you're talking about something else topically, but you're also worried if you're going to live or die.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that for us, like in the beginning of doing this, I think that the conversations were very surface. It was like, hey, like what kind of TV are you watching? What like snacks are you like getting in your home? And now it's more just like you can hear the darkness from all of this. I think that's sort of like seeped in these past few days where it's just like there's an emotional toll to being inside and to not taking breaks and to
and I think imagining what the world looks like after this, which
there's a real fear.
And it's almost like impossible to do that. You know, like it's and unfair to yourself. It's like what is that balance between like thinking of the bigger picture and also focusing on like moment by moment?
Right.
So speaking with, 3 people a day has been super helpful for us. And I think on the other end too, it's like there's a human connection there. And then for the listeners as well.
Yeah.
But it is a heavier, discussion and it's a weird thing to sort of, carry on as we go day by day.
Yeah. But I think it's so important. Like, I couldn't imagine not, like my pod is, we actually recorded the last episode already. And it felt so important to just have, I don't know what the wording is, but like being able to produce a record of this time.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
I think is really essential.
Yeah.
And I mean, props to you guys for keeping it up because I know it's not easy.
No, thank you. I think that if we're doing anything, we are providing evidence of how long Jeff's hair is going to grow through all this.
Yeah, wait. So like originally, Kimberly, I was going to grow a ponytail. Then I decided to do a rat tail.
Ooh.
But then the other thing is that I just talked to my barber and from him I bought clippers and he said that I should Instagram live myself giving myself a haircut. So
yes.
I feel like all this is good content. I just don't know how to package it yet. Like do you think I would look better with a rat tail or a ponytail, or do I give myself a mangled haircut?
Ooh, well, it depends on like what your goal and your end game is here, right?
My goal is to get followers.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, Jeff.
Right. I was gonna say. I was like, right.
I think. By the way, I hope that you get so good. Like I know you're saying like you could do a mangled haircut and get followers. I want you to be so good that you can like carve things into the side of your head. Like
I could do that easily.
Exactly.
I think it'd be great.
No, anybody can carve anything into their head. Like I could do the super S or whatever. I could do the Wu-Tang symbol probably.
That would
you have to carve support essential workers into your head.
Oh, yeah.
Obvi.
Have you found yourself more structured than ever, or has this just been like you just sort of improv through every day?
I'm not a structured person in general, like even not in a global health pandemic. So it's really minute by minute. It's funny because like we're at the top of the chat, you're mentioning like, oh, every day's the same. Like every day is so like minute to minute. Every day is so different because I just like I don't want anything to feel too mundane. Mm-hmm. But I have started some practices of just like things I know I will do every day. Like I do yoga every day just to like move my body. Because also not going outside, I'm like, I have to have some sort of agility.
Yeah, we started yoga based off of YouTube. We've been yoga with Adrian.
We've been doing this for the better part of the 30 days. So.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm going to come out of here looking real agile.
I love that.
And with a rat tail. Yeah. Yeah,
I think if you're going to be a yogi, you have to go for like a man bun, but like whatever.
Oh, true. Yeah, maybe I'll just shave the sides and back.
Yeah. Do you also find like yourself hanging out in new places within your apartment?
Yes. I have really taken to hanging out in my bathtub.
Yeah.
Because it's like cool. Because it's porcelain, and it gets the best light, like hands down, in my whole place.
How like Royal Tenenbaums of you?
I know.
I know. It's like the most Leo thing I do. Actually, is like it's just so extra. It's so extra.
When you moved into your place, were you just like, oh, that's where I'm gonna hang out?
When I moved into my place, I did not imagine spending 50 solid days on end here. I also moved in November and was gone for the whole month of December, and so. This is a brand new place.
Yeah, it's all new.
Me.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice to actually like be like my rent feels really worth it, although I want a rent strike. And that's like the conflict.
Oh yeah. Agreed. Well, listen, Kimberly, we love you. Take care of yourself. Stay inside as much as you can. And be healthy and be creative, and hopefully we'll look forward to seeing you on the other side of this.
Yeah, we're gonna get in that Zoom rave.
Yeah, we'll see you over there.
Yes, I'll send you guys the link. Much love to you guys. Thanks so much for this.
All right, take care. Jeff, let's now call up to our friend Chris Black.
Thud.
What up?
Yo!
What's up, fellas? How are
you? We're doing all right. How are you hanging in?
Oh, another day in paradise, baby. You already know.
Listen,
you already know.
Everything from here on out is changing, obviously. So I want to know what you're going to miss most. Is it the 311 themed cruise? Is it the Kiss themed cruise, or is it the Impractical Jokers themed cruise?
Fuck, I didn't know this many themed cruises existed. I guess 311, because that's the one I'm most surprised by. I'm really surprised that exists.
They celebrate it every March 11th.
Yeah, where have you been?
I know it's a national holiday. I just didn't know it had a cruise element. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Have you ever taken a cruise?
Mercifully, no.
Oh, yeah. Same here.
But I was going to... last year, I used to manage this band called Cartel, and they were doing a cruise reunion, like a Warped Tour cruise, and I wanted to go and write like a story about revisiting my early 20s, but it didn't pan out. So
I feel like a cruise is your personal hell. I can't imagine.
It is my personal hell. I mean, what's the DJ one that everybody went on?
Oh, the Mad
for
Decent one, yeah.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, it's honestly insane. That whole the idea of like that many people being on drugs for that much, like with nowhere to go, is terrifying.
Do you think that they spin, like DJs are actually like playing, like every single hour?
I would say most hours, yes. I would say, I mean, I think it's something like that. It's almost, for these people to get their money's worth, you got to have DJs 24 hours a day for 3 days.
I think there are quiet hours, but I'm not gonna pretend like I'm an expert on the Matt Decent cruise.
Why don't you fall back? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah, why don't you fall back?
Chris, what is Instagram Live going to look like in 6 months?
I mean, TV, basically. I don't know. I mean, I think that I've done it a few times and it's fine. I just think it's interesting because the numbers just don't make any sense. Like, it's crazy. Like, the numbers don't make any sense. Like, millions of followers and you have 2,000 people watching you.
Yeah.
But I think I have this whole theory that it's basically because if you have a second device to watch it on, then you don't have to, you don't get antsy. But if you're using your phone, you don't want to watch Virgil for an hour. You want to watch Virgil for 15 minutes.
I want to watch Virgil on a cruise, but that's just me.
Go on the Virgil. It's a quote unquote cruise.
Yeah.
let's see how well it goes. He might have to cruise. You never know. If LV Mate shuts down, it might be cruise time for all of us.
Do you think that there's enough content to go around for the next 6 months?
Yeah, of course. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. I think we're peaking. I think we're going to peak right about now. Like, I think that this is because this podcast is doing pretty well, right?
Yes.
It's almost doing too well.
Wow, I love that. What a flex. Jason and I started doing the How Long Gone, our quarantine podcast.
Yeah, shout out to them jeans.
Dude, it's fuck. We got a cease and desist from the New York Times yesterday for our daily inspired artwork.
Oh.
So we're
made it.
I know, we're unfortunately on ice for a little while, but it's the same kind of thing. It's like, oh shit, people really like this. And it's you definitely feel the momentum going. The question is like, how long can this go on for?
Well,
like,
also,
this breakneck pace.
Did you catch Saturday Night Live at home this past weekend?
I did watch some of it. Yeah, I thought it was actually pretty good.
Okay, and is that sustainable for another 6 months?
What else do they have to do? That's the other thing, is that people like that, especially people in the entertainment business, like they really have nothing to do.
Yeah,
like we can fake work. These guys like can't even fake work. Like they can't. There's no set. There's no. You know what I mean? There's no table read. There's nothing. So like, it has to. And I mean, the thing with that is they can keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger celebrities to come on, which raises the bar. You know, I think that helps.
I also think that people, once they figure out like more of the green screen technology, like at home, like it'll get better. Because like right now you have Pete Davidson dancing in his house doing a bad Drake impression, and it's just like, all right, well, that's like day
there's
one.
there's only so many corners in someone's apartment.
Yeah, that's the thing. These Saturday Night Live guys aren't getting money like that. They don't have these palatial Ellen Montecito level houses. You know what I mean?
Or a David Geffen yacht. Again, yacht.
That's the only place I want to be. People got that's David's reality. Why you got to hate on Geffen? That's just where he's at, bro. Like it's a little tone deaf, but that's his reality.
How'd you feel about the Justin Bieber thing the other day?
What Justin Bieber thing?
Well, Justin Bieber was on with his wife, obviously, and with one of the Kardashians, and they were going back and forth about how, they've sort of gotten to this place, and people were like, well, yeah, but you haven't struggled like we've struggled, and there was a big to-do online, believe it or not.
I did see this where he was like, we worked hard, we deserve it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, man, everybody's reality is different, but I do think there's just a level of empathy and maybe just like knowing your place in situations like this. You know what I mean? Like I know I'm lucky. I don't have it that bad, so I'm not going to complain. You know what I mean? It's just it's that simple to me. Like I don't, there's people that can't eat and are going to die. Like what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like I'm pissed because I can't go work out. Like I'll live. You know what I mean? Like,
are you working out in your apartment?
Oh, fuck yeah. We're getting it in. Yeah, we're getting it in. I mean, I'm doing stuff every day. I haven't really taken a day off, to be honest, because I just need it for mental clarity. But I've been doing a lot of running, which I find super nice. Just also because it takes up a lot more time. You know what I mean? It takes like if you're doing a pretty long run, you're looking at an hour, 2 hours. With the whole process. So that's been good, and I feel like it's just better for the brain. And you get to leave the house, which is obviously a bonus.
Yeah, but like, do you find that the areas that you run in, because it is New York City, are they crowded?
I'm not in I'm in Montreal.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. I fled like a good New Yorker. There are definitely people around here, but it's pretty mellow. I mean, I'm also like not that paranoid, if I'm being 100% honest with you. Like, I think this shit is bad and very serious, but I'm not like totally losing my fucking mind. How do you guys feel?
I think I go like back and forth. Like, I personally don't feel like I'm going to get it, and yet I also feel like society around me is going to crumble. And so like that's what worries me. But like I don't think I don't even touch my face like on a normal day. So like I'm not worried about getting sick.
Yeah, and both of us have honestly stayed indoors for the vast majority of this whole thing. And if we go to the grocery store, we have a 24-hour one like a few blocks away from us, and so we shop at midnight, when there's less people there. And but I did have to go to the grocery store one morning because we, just ran out of things that they didn't have at overnight. And so I went there, and that was a little weird. Like, after all this time being away from people, being near people again, and like watching, some lady without gloves touching all of the Brussels sprouts, that was a mental hurdle I had to get past,
Brussels sprouts off the menu for tonight.
I know, yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it's because of, I think Canada in general is just more mellow with stuff like this, and I think that they're handling the situation a little better from like a top down standpoint.
Yeah.
Wait, then America?
I know it's crazy. It's crazy to say that. I know. No disrespect. No disrespect. I'm red, white, and blue till I die. But I just think it's a little more mellow here in general. And I also think New York is obviously ground zero in some ways. And I also, I think it'll be the worst and it'll also recover the fastest. I think that's how New York operates in many ways.
I don't know who to listen to either now, because, on one hand, everyone's like, oh, Anthony Fauci is the greatest. And then on the other hand, everyone's like, fuck Anthony Fauci. And it's just like people who, by the way,
because you listened to the Daily and he was defending Trump.
Yeah. And so it was,
well, Trump is his boss. He doesn't have much of a choice. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to get canned after all this anyway, I'm sure. So it's like, the last I heard, the shelter in place end date for New York was April 30th. Is that still the same?
I think it is for now, but then they're looking at like canceling school for like the rest of the year.
And I think it might be extended into May at this point. Very unsure.
Yeah.
Again, we sort of turned off the news as much as we can.
Maybe you have. I wake up every morning and I just like dive deep into it, and then I feel bad about myself.
Nothing like a big line of news in the morning. Just snort it right
snort it up.
You know what I mean? That's just really
gives me that real high.
The problem is that I'm so logged on that even if I'm not looking for the news, I'm going to get it. You know what I mean? It's so pervasive now that like I can't use the internet without reading the news. Well, so it's difficult.
Do you feel like you're living in a certain bubble in your online life? Like, or do you follow people that you ordinarily like wouldn't have to get news from other places or hear different sides to things?
No, I'm in the same zone. I would like to hear less, not more, no matter what side it's from. I'm just a little bit like exhausted by the whole thing. I also think it's just, I think we all have friends that are more paranoid and freaked out than others. So that's the other thing is mitigating those conversations, which isn't always easy. Cause I got people in my fucking group chat talking about fucking putting their car keys in a rice cooker to sanitize them. And I'm just like, guys, like, is this really where we're at? Like, but I guess we are.
Well, how many people do you know who have gotten it?
I think a handful, probably not a ton. A few friends in London, a few people in New York. I think a lot of people, I think in New York, it all came from Fashion Week, being in Europe and coming back to New York, which I was at, but I felt fine. I don't know.
So you're saying cancel Fashion Week?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Like it's it's bad for the environment. It costs a lot of money. Like why not? Fuck it. But I think that is. I do think people have had it for sure, and I think that. I don't know, man. I'm just so tired of hearing about it. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. Yeah. It's so circular, and it's just like absolutely exhausting. But I've held up pretty well as far as like the actual quarantine. I'm surprised because I'm. Yeah, it's a go-getter.
It's also tough because there's no pop culture to talk about at all. You know, it is just strictly this one thing, and it's hard to like.
That's not true. That's not true. Ben Affleck and his new girlfriend walk their dog every day. There's pictures of them. Okay, so let's not say there's some breaking news. Okay?
Wait, is he showing off the back tattoo?
Sadly, he's fully clothed, but it's still it's not that warm in LA yet. So give him some time.
Is paparazzi work essential?
I would say that paparazzi are willing to risk it all under any circumstance. You know what I mean? I don't think those guys are obeying any laws, no matter what the situation is globally.
Chris, you're somebody who's worked with a lot of brands. Who are the Walmart commercials where they thank the heroes that work for them? Who are those commercials for?
Not for me. That is fucking rough, man. I just don't. It's really tough, dude, because these corporations just don't know what to do. You know what I mean? It's like, and we all don't know what to do, obviously, but they feel like they have to say something. And I think that's why this kind of stuff gets created. And it's I think their heart is in the right place, but then it's just like, if you look at your track record, you're fucked. You know what I mean? It's like the argument where, Jeff Bezos gives all this money away, which in theory is a great thing, and then he gets killed everywhere on the internet because he's rich. And it's like, well, sure. I get it. He should give more money or what have you. But everybody's trying to do their best. No one knows what to do. You know what I mean? No one knows what to do.
So have you been shopping with Jeff Bezos and Amazon?
I haven't because shit takes so long to get to Canada, but I probably would. Let's keep it real. Yeah. Bezos is definitely trash, but it's also like Amazon to me at this point, especially situations like this, is sadly an unavoidable problem.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I think no one can compare with what they're doing, and I am able to see the bad, but I think I think the situation is benefiting them more than a lot of companies.
And we also might not have the U.S. Postal Service anymore, so who knows?
That actually bothers me a lot.
Same.
I just grew up. I think like growing up listening to punk and hardcore, like mail order and mailing stuff was like a big part of my life.
Yeah.
And I think it just stuck with me, and I still love to get mail. That's why I fucking order all this dumb shit all the time. So it's really disheartening, and I also feel like that is like so preventable. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like that's just like we got to figure that out. That's some like American legacy shit. We can't just let that die for seemingly silly reasons. You know what I mean?
What is the most ridiculous purchase you've made throughout this whole thing? Because obviously, like companies are like, "Yo, we got to sell our shit, and people got to buy our shit to stay alive." So we're having crazy sales. Have you been like lulled into buying something that ordinarily you wouldn't, but you just can't not get it?
Did I buy? I mean, I got some stuff. So I got some stuff shipped from my parents' house, and they're shipping it here. The best thing that's happened to me this whole time is that I lost a pair of AirPods in quarantine. So you tell me who the real boss is. I lost it. We started the quarantine at a cabin like outside of the city, and somehow I lost a pair of AirPods there. And I am now, so I had to order a pair, and now they're on their way here. So I have somehow bought AirPods in the quarantine, which is honestly, when you're podcasting, it's necessary. You know what I mean? When you're podcasting on the fly, this is what you guys know.
Yeah, have to.
Gear.
It's a must.
But I haven't bought any. I've resisted buying like clothes on sale because everybody's 30% off, and I've like resisted that.
You haven't bought any like flights to Milan or anything?
No, I haven't bought. I should. But I think a few people I know bought flights to Japan because they're like $500.
Yeah, nuts.
For like for Christmas or something, which I probably will do. But that's been the hardest part for me is that I just don't stay in one place for this long. So that's taken some getting used to for sure. I miss the airport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you how when would you break quarantine to like see your barber? Like at what point?
Oh, bro, I'm displaced as I said. I shaved my head actually. But I hit all the plugs I knew in town. Like who will come by? I'll give them $100. Like wear gloves, wear a mask. Let's get this haircut. Like, dude, that's the worst part, bro. I need a pedicure. I need all kinds of shit, bro. I need a massage. Like, we're all fucked up in the game.
Are you gonna like start like watching YouTube videos, learning how to give yourself a pedicure?
I think that I could get to that point. Yes, I don't think I've started doing this thing called dry brushing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. My girlfriend put me on. It's basically like a hard bristled brush, and you just rub it all over your body before you get in the shower, and it obviously gets rid of dead skin, but it also like gets the circulation going, and it feels incredible. This is something you could all buy on Amazon for $15 and give yourself a little thrill every day.
Is this like Senator Loeffler? Like, is this like insider trading?
No, it's not. I swear, I have no skin in the game.
Yeah, because you brushed it all off. Yeah,
exactly. It's gone. All the layers are gone like a snake.
Okay, so if you're never in one place for a long period of time, are you starting to get the itch to move somewhere else? And if so, where are you going to go next?
I mean, if I go anywhere, it would be Atlanta, where my family is, just partly because it's warm. You know what I mean? Already, it's like 75, 80 degrees there, so that would be nice. But my mom and sister are both like in the medical field, and they're still working every day.
Wow.
So it'd be nice just to kind of hear firsthand what that's like. I don't think the South. I mean,
yeah, the
South is still calling it China virus probably. So we gotta, I don't know if they're as concerned as they should be necessarily. But I haven't heard any crazy reports from them yet. But that's the only thing I would do. I mean, the real place to be right now is like Miami. I feel like would probably be number one.
But that feels like an epicenter, though.
Yeah, but I'd risk it for a tan, bro. I mean, where are your priorities, man? Like
wait, have you seen pictures of us?
I know, we don't go outside.
Yeah, that's true. You guys don't go outside. That's true.
How have your mother and sister done with this in terms of like taking it home, and how is their mental through this whole thing? Because
I know. I mean, I've talked to my mom a lot, and my mom takes care of like underprivileged pregnant women. So she goes like to their houses.
Wow.
She's fine. I mean, she's also been doing this for 30 years. I think she's just kind of unflappable. You know what I mean? I think it's just kind of like, this is what I do. I get up and I do it, and I take care of myself. And if something happens, it happens. My sister is in like communications for like a big hospital. So I think that job is weirdly more intense, maybe in some ways. But she just had twins too, so I think, and her husband's also a nurse, so I think that they both just like take a lot of showers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what else you could do. You know, like I don't. I think you are as safe as you can be, and then you come home and you forget about it and you do it all over again. You know, I don't think there's much else you could do.
Have you taken part in the nightly 7 p.m. Applause sessions for first responders and people on the front lines and all that?
Okay, I'm going to answer for Chris first. I'm going to say absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, guys, sorry, that's pointless. Like, I understand.
Mariah Carey did it from her rooftop yesterday, guys.
Look, and good for her. Maybe she needs some fresh air at the right time. But I find it to be a little bit like, I get it, that it's like a community thing and it feels good to do something together. I understand what the reasoning is, but I'm also like, this doesn't actually do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't, like, give some money to someone, don't clap is kind of where I'm at with it. But
so that means that you went into Diddy's live yesterday and donated money through him?
I did go into Diddy's live yesterday. I did not donate money through him.
He was dancing for, half a day.
How sad did his kids look while dancing, though?
I mean, dude, those kids, they hate him. I mean, well, I believe that his one son is the guy who's spearheading this whole virtual strip club thing.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I read the article in the Times. Which was very weird to talk. Like,
wait, the same New York Times that shut down Chris and Jason's podcast.
Exactly. The same fucking New York Times. No, it's okay. It's still the paper of record.
Yeah,
that story is crazy. But like, I think that's the kind of enterprising that is very impressive to me. That's going to come from like digital first young people, like so quickly found a way to like make money and help people at the same time, which is like kind of insane.
Yeah,
I
mean, but isn't that every Shark Tank pitch?
That is every Shark Tank pitch, but it actually works. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not like a contraption. It's like actually working, and like they talk to dancers. They're like, "Yeah, I made $10,000 last week," and shit.
Yeah.
It's like very real, which is cool.
I never thought about the future of Shark Tank until right now, and how disappointing that everyone's gonna have to sit 6 feet from each other, and or maybe do it by Zoom. Who knows?
These are the real victims.
I know. Yeah.
These are the real victims, the sharks.
Yeah.
I'm more into there was another show that was called The Prophet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Show?
On CNBC.
To me, that was better than Shark Tank. Similar, but better. Just if you got time and you have CNBC subscription, you know what I mean?
Wait. This is from an entertainment standpoint or from like an actual functional standpoint?
Oh, purely entertainment.
Okay.
Purely entertainment. None of it's functional. This is all for entertainment.
Because he just goes to like restaurants. He's like, "This is a bad restaurant. You need to move the chairs around."
It's a little bit like a Gordon Ramsay situation, which I love.
Yeah.
And then he also puts his own money in, so he has skin in the game. That's why it's considered a higher tier.
So you believe that's actually his money and not CNBC's money?
I don't know how much money CNBC has.
Oh.
You know what I mean? To be fair,
have you seen their programming?
That's you're right. It's low budget program, but it's a good show. What are you guys watching
now?
Yeah,
a lot of YouTube videos. We watch a lot of Bon Appetit stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, actually, do you watch Bon Appetit?
I don't cook at all, but I do think Bon Appetit is crushing.
They are, and I'll say this too. I think it's more about the process than the actual like learning, that comes from it.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody has ever.
I'm not going to pickle, certain things.
I don't know if anybody's ever done any of the gourmet makes like candy.
Yeah.
Like at home, it's impossible.
I just think it's pretty amazing how all of these people who 3 years ago were seemingly just nobodies who worked in print and worked online or whatever have now become front-facing celebrities and get stopped on the street. Yeah.
I was looking into getting Claire on the podcast.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, but then I looked at who she was following, and I was like, oh, we have no one in common. Got it.
Oh, bro, but look, we have a wrapped audience. People are at home and nothing to do.
Yeah.
Like, most of the guests that we've had so far are like friends or friends of friends, but like I'm ready to swing for the fences.
Oh yeah, no, same here. And sooner or later, Martha Stewart will be on our podcast, and it'll be pretty fascinating when we talk about those hard bristle brushes.
Yeah,
that's she. Actually, I gave you something to talk to Martha about.
Finally,
listen.
I need to get I just need to know your opinion on these fucking beat battles. I feel like you guys are living for them.
Yes.
And I have some problems with them.
Okay, same. But
I enjoy the conversation, but I also think that it's just like you know, some of the matchups are not ideal, and then also it's just like when the sound is so bad, that you're just like, well, what's the point? just put it on an index card and take an Instagram of it.
I just am like, you guys they're just playing songs that they've already made. I don't know. It's not interesting enough for me. It's like, it's not actual DJing. It's like playing.
So you want
it's like
deconstruction?
I mean, I don't really want any of it, if I'm being totally honest, but I do think it could be. I just was like, I thought I was missing something, and then I watched a little bit of one, and I was like, oh, these guys are just like pushing play on a song they made for 30 seconds and then yelling about how good it is.
But I mean, there's also the thinking that goes in between, like, oh, this song that you did is not as good as this other song that I made at this one.
Sure.
Like,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
I think really like a head-to-head thing.
Yeah, and I think overall, too, it ends up being more about the community that's in there and the commenting that goes on and the people going back and forth there.
Well, they're doing fucking insane numbers. Numbers.
Well,
so, like,
how do you feel?
Wrong.
How do you feel about like watching old dudes struggle with new technology?
Oh, I love it.
That I do like. I mean, it's also just like such a funny. Yeah, I mean, these guys are old as fuck. Like that. It really drives that point home. Like, who knows who D-Nice is? Like, what person under 30 knows who D-Nice is?
And then he has, like, you know, Barack Obama and, like, you know, Joe Biden's ghost account. You know, jumping. I love
Joe Biden being in the mix is fire. That's so funny. It's so good.
Wait,
but I do think this is just a time for, you know, people are just doing whatever they can. So I guess I have to give it to them.
Okay, so we have our show, Quarantine Radio. Tory Lanez, 8 days after we started his own Quarantine Radio. You are somebody who has dealt with C&Ds.
Yes, exactly. It's time to send one. First of all, I mean, I don't know what your relationship with Tory Lanez is, but we don't fuck with Tory Lanez on this side.
Oh, thank you. Even though you're in Canada right now.
I'm team. I mean, look, I know him and Drake have made up, but I'm always going to side with Drizzy.
For sure.
I mean, I can't. Tory Lanez is nobody.
Wait, Chris, if you decamp from Montreal, you should go to Drake's new spot in Toronto.
Yeah, you'll never see him.
I know, I never see him. I'll pick a hotel lobby and move in. You know what I mean? It's a very simple. I mean, that shit is truly crazy. But Drake is a master. He put out a bad song. He put out a bad house, and no one can stop talking about it. And that song's going to come in number one, bro. Yeah, that song's going to come in number one.
We are all held captive to Drake, you know?
Yeah.
It's honestly amazing. Like, it's unfathomable to me how it's possible. Like, he hasn't put out a good song in a long time. It really upsets me.
It sounds like you should battle Drake.
I mean, he's unfortunately got more hits than me. No question, but I just think it's like, man, I need Drake to get back on lean and like move back to Toronto. Like, I can't. I want Marvin's Room, bro. I need some sad good shit. I can't handle these like TikTok songs, bro. I'm good. Maybe I'm too old.
Then you need to be on Instagram Live. Listen, Chris, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for everything. We appreciate.
Thank you guys.
No, we appreciate your voice, especially now, because I think a lot of people are just getting into this place right in the middle, and no one takes any stands, no one says what they mean anymore, and now is the time to really be yourself and put yourself out there. So we appreciate you, we love you, take care of yourself, you and yours, and we'll be checking in.
Thank you. All right, talk to you soon, guys. Have a good one.
Shout out to Chris Black, shout out to Kimberly Drew, and shout out to the one and only Questlove. Jeff, are we back tomorrow?
We are back every day forever.
As always, guys, now for real.
Sure.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.